By now, we've witnessed college campuses lose their minds again and again. At this point, I don't know if they can even help it. Sometimes I do wonder, in a place intended for thinking, where did everyone's brains go? But I've got some good news for you. Not all is lost. In fact, conservative students are fighting back. In this episode of On the Front Lines, we're sharing some incredible stories of student perseverance at the University of Chicago, Cypress College, Florida State, Fordham, and the University of Indiana. We'll sit down with a bold student leader from Arizona State University who won a fight for free speech, and then break down the latest threats from a passionate professor at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. All this and more, I'm Isabel Brown, and this is On the Front Lines.
On campus, the left tries to silence us.
There's a lot of liberal indoctrination.
Universities don't stand for objective truth.
Assaulting us, threatening us.
We are on the front lines.
Hey everybody, my name is Rae'Lee Klein and I'm a 21-year-old graduate of Arizona State University. I was born and raised in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where I was raised right and taught the importance and the necessity of conservative values and why they matter so much to the future of our country. I set out to study journalism to bring truth back to an institution that had lost the trust of the very people that it serves, and quickly realized once I got there all the propaganda games that were going on in the journalism world. And even though political science was my double major, I was still very scared to get involved in anything political just because of the fear of repercussions of being a young conservative. And over time, I finally got the confidence to start speaking out on political issues, and once I did that and got comfortable in my own skin and my own beliefs, I got canceled for it. I'm Rae'Lee Klein, and this is On the Front Lines.
Please welcome Rae'Lee Klein, a recent graduate from Arizona State University. Rae'Lee, tell me about how you chose Arizona State and what got you involved in hosting the campus radio station.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thank you for having me on the show. So excited to be here with you on the front lines. So I chose Arizona State basically on the premise that I always knew I wanted to go to journalism school. When I went to visit it, I fell in love with the school, fell in love with the program, thought, it felt like home and it was the best place for me to be. And when I got there, I immediately got involved with the campus radio station, Blaze Radio. And then by the time I was a sophomore, they just noticed me and asked me to step on as station manager.
We'll get more into this part with your story specifically, but before you became outspoken about your beliefs on campus, did you encounter a culture that was hostile at all towards conservative values or perspectives? I
would say it became increasingly more hostile. I mean, I noticed right away when I walked in that conservatives had to be quiet. They were definitely I don't think they were the minority, but you had to keep that to yourself if you were.
You decided to post something as a student on your social media. Tell me about what you posted, why it started this huge storm on campus, and why you felt compelled to share it.
Yeah, I mean, I never imagined the storm it would create. So I found an article from the New York Post that had basically just outlined why the police were called on Jacob Blake. And for people that aren't familiar with it, this was just another incident of police-involved shootings, and the media just blew it up everywhere. And the New York Post did this really extensive article. I thought, me being a journalist, it's good for my constituents to know this piece of information. So I shared it with the caption, "There's always more to the story, folks. Please take the time to read this article about sexual assault allegations against Jacob Blake. I think you'll be quite disgusted." Something along those lines.
What was the immediate response to your university for you posting that?
So my classmates were the first to kind of jump on it. And with anything you post politically, there's always backlash one way or another. I expected that. What I didn't expect is for people to bring my position into it and say, "Oh, you're racist, you don't deserve to hold a leadership position, you're unfit to be, any type of leader in this community." And it eventually led to the university kind of agreeing with that and removing me from the position.
So the university fired you from the campus radio station?
They did.
Wow. So in the midst of this unintentional storm on campus, you lost your on-campus job, you decided to move back home because you no longer felt safe on your campus, you had a roommate turn against you and all of your friends. In the midst of all of that, why did you decide to fight back?
I've always been a fighter, but I will admit it didn't just happen overnight. I kind of just talked with my mom and she said, no matter what you do, we'll support you. We understand if you want to just lay down and let this train roll over and move on with your life, but we also know, you do have a strong case here if you want to fight it, and we'll support you if you do that.
What did fighting back against ASU look like for you?
So the university really didn't want to get involved at first. It kind of came to a standstill between the board of directors wanting me to resign willingly and me saying, that's not going to happen, sorry, I didn't do anything wrong here. And this standoff eventually led to the university stepping in and like firing me from the position. And at that point, I had gotten in touch with the Goldwater Institute and the Alliance Defending Freedom here in Arizona. And an attorney, Jack Willencheck, took my case when, all this was happening, and the day that they fired me was the day we put a lawsuit on their desk.
How did the university's attitude towards you change once you filed a lawsuit?
It was kind of funny because they kept trying to backtrack as much as they could. They would say, we didn't fire her, we didn't do anything, or, there's ongoing discussions. And Jack had counseled me to save receipts of emails, conversations, text messages, everything. And so we had all the proof in the world that what they were saying did not match what they were doing. And it just made them look that much worse.
So they kept bullying you throughout this process.
Yeah.
It was a total David and Goliath story because
Totally.
you won ultimately. You defeated
did.
Arizona State University in court. What did that feel like?
It's still goes through my head, that whirlwind of everything. It was a great feeling to know that we are starting to change the conversation and give students courage to be able to stand up to this, because I knew the moment it happened that there was no way that Arizona State would have been able to win this.
There are students across the country who, like you, are facing First Amendment violations on their campus, but they may not know how to navigate that process. Maybe they're not even thinking of a lawsuit as a viable option. Do you have any words of encouragement for other students facing similar situations as yours who might need to navigate that process?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one is you have more freedoms and protections than you probably know that you have. And so if you even slightly think that you may have had something, or your First Amendment, Second Amendment, whatever, violated, look into it. Look into it with an attorney. The worst thing they're going to say is no, and then you're right back in the position that you were. So have the courage to understand that. Have the commitment to research it and understand your individual rights. And doing that and knowing that there's a community of people out there who will support you through that is so empowering.
You recently graduated from ASU.
I
What's
did.
next for you? I already know, but share it with our viewers.
There's a lot next. I'm super excited. So I'm taking a gap year now, working for Charlie Kirk as his administrator here in Turning Point USA, which has been amazing. Love that they just kind of adopted me after all of this happened and brought me in. It's such a great place to work. And then once my year here is over, I'm going to be going to law school. So
Very
don't know where
exciting.
yet, but we'll figure it out. I'm
Well,
excited.
Rayleigh, thank you so much for being such an inspiration to this generation of people fighting for their rights in the future of America. We have loved having you here on the front lines.
Thank you.
Coming up next on State of Campus, students keep fighting back. This is On the Front Lines. There is a massive cultural change happening on college campuses today. Not only are there extreme new levels of indoctrination being forced upon students by the left, but students on the right are standing up and fighting back. Like never before, young adults in America are taking a stance for their values, standing up to the ideological insanity of the modern left, and working to make a difference by telling the truth in their communities. Whether it's filing lawsuits against their administrations, publicly speaking their minds in class, or outing the true agenda of their university, Generation Z is tirelessly fighting for a stronger American future, and it all starts from the heart of our nation's universities. It's time for your State of Campus. If we're being honest, Chicago is the mini California of the Midwest. Think about it. Gorgeous, but crime-ridden. Lovely until you notice all of the surrounding leftists, and a hub for universities of woke. The University of Chicago fits this same radical criteria, but now students are fighting woke with ideas in the Windy City. Audrey Unverfurth and Evita Duffy worked together this year to co-found a new campus newspaper aimed at bringing a conservative perspective to their increasingly leftist environment. The Chicago Thinker is on a mission. They say, we demand not to be coddled. Embracing the experience of unfettered inquiry and free expression is precisely the point of these years of intense study. Imagine if the New York Times no longer coddled its readers and editors. There wouldn't be enough newspapers in the world to soak up all of the leftist tears cried over the ideas of, wait for it, other people. What I love so much about college campuses are the students who boldly take stances for freedom of expression. In doing just that, Audrey and Evita got the attention of the Wall Street Journal editorial board, who praised them for their refusal to be canceled and bravery in promoting diversity of thought. I did not see that coming, but I'm so glad that it did. Congratulations, Audrey and Evita, and thank you for inspiring so many and instilling a love of the First Amendment in your community. Before the left ruins things, it first makes things ironic and confusing. Take police officers, for example. They protect college campuses across the country, but there's little to protect them from the cutting dogmas of a classroom. But once again, another brave student has pushed back. During a Zoom presentation earlier this year, Braden Ellis, a business major at Cypress College in California, shared his thoughts on cancel culture, including the attacks on the popular kids show Paw Patrol. I still don't understand how someone can be so offended by a kids show, especially one with very cute puppies. But wait, where's PETA at? Unfortunately, the cultural animosity towards police officers was embraced by Braden's professor, who was immediately infuriated by his opinions. Rather than sparking a healthy debate, it prompted a fiery exchange over Zoom. Let's take a listen.
I think cops are heroes and they have to have a difficult job, but we have to have that
All of
fine
them?
life. Oh, I'd say a good majority of them. You have bad people in every business and every part. Well, wait.
A lot of police officers have committed atrocious crimes and have gotten away with it and have never been convicted of any of it.
And
I say this as a person who has family members who are police officers.
Yes, I understand.
So what is your bottom line point? You're saying police officers should be revered, viewed as heroes? They belong on TV shows with children?
I think they are heroes in a sense because they come to your need and they come and help you. And
because they're actually supposed to protect and serve the people.
They do protect us. Who do we call when we're in trouble and someone has a knife or a gun?
I wouldn't call the police.
Why wouldn't you call the police?
I don't trust them. My life's in more danger.
Who would you call?
It's my time to go.
I know that it's not popular for me to say that to you guys and people in here, but that's what I believe about the police.
Okay,
and,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for listening to my point. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Braden's courage in standing up for his values in class not only got the attention of national news outlets after this clip was posted online, but ultimately wound up to his professor being placed on a leave of absence from Cypress College. Huge win. And get this, she also won't be teaching any further classes at the school and is no longer a member of the faculty as of this fall. Fantastic! Speaking up during a single discussion in class may seem terrifying and pointless, but it can lead to a serious change of culture on campus if you're bold enough to seize the moment. Take note, and you might just gain the courage you need to stand up on campus. Braden's professor at Cypress College sounded crazy, but honestly, that's nothing. Professors have reached new levels of insanity when it comes to what they're willing to say to their students, or worse, post online. Dan Johnson, a professor of recreation therapy at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, set a new standard for conservative threats on campus. On his Facebook page in May, Professor Johnson posted a simple statement: blow up Republicans. Blow up Republicans. Those are some pretty violent words, Professor Johnson. It would be a shame if we never let this go, just like the left constantly keeps bringing history back on conservatives. Hey, Professor, say it with me. Silence is violence. So then, 3-word sentences must be equivalent to full-blown manifestos, right? I don't write these rules, the left does. Professor Johnson has since publicly apologized, saying, "Recently, I made a mistake, and I'm deeply sorry for it. I posted a poorly worded expression of political frustration on my now deleted personal Facebook page. I profoundly regret it. The statement does not reflect my personal values or UNCW's culture of civil and respectful discourse." Hold my water. Poorly worded political frustration? This type of behavior is completely unacceptable. And for the students who identify as conservatives in Professor Johnson's classes, it may even be considered a direct threat under law. Ever wonder why conservative students don't feel welcome or even safe on campus? Just scroll through social media to see all of the threats. poorly worded expressions they're up against in person and online every single day. Dan Johnson, you're on our list. Heck, you may have just made it to the #1 spot. And all you other educators out there, keep it up, and you just might make our professor watch list. Jumping back onto campus, at the rate students are fighting for their values, campuses may just turn into courtrooms. Students nationwide are filing lawsuits against their universities to protect their individual rights, and we are here for it. Let's head to Florida State University, where standing up for your religious beliefs is frowned upon. Jack Denton, former student body president, recently filed a lawsuit against FSU due to the Student Senate's decision to impeach him from his role in student government over his personal values. Jack is Catholic and makes no attempts to hide his feelings and concerns about Black Lives Matter Inc., the ACLU, and more over their repeated attacks on Catholic teaching. Catholic or not, the teachings of these organizations also go against our American values, too. Outside of his role with student government, Jack sent private text messages to other Catholic students saying, "I don't mean to anger anyone. If I stay silent while my brothers and sisters may be supporting an organization that promotes grave evils, I have sinned through my silence. I love you all, and I want us all to be aware of the truth." Student senators then used Jack's text to impeach him from office and openly mocked his Catholic beliefs in the process. How are these impeachment texts? He's supporting his fellow students by giving them the facts. Is that not allowed anymore? Rather than sit back and let religious persecution take place on his campus, Jack decided to file a lawsuit against the university for violating the First Amendment, and won. And get this, not only did Jack win in court, but FSU's student government quickly reversed course and even reinstated his position as student body president for the remainder of his time as a student. The way I see it, he was always the student body president. He just told his fellow students the truth and kept his head high as a leader. Gun control has gotten so bad that you can now get canceled for just taking a picture with a firearm. At Fordham University, Austin Tong was banned from campus after he posted a photo on his Instagram with a legally owned firearm on the anniversary of the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre with the caption, "Don't tread on me, #198964. Austin legally immigrated to the United States from China as a young child and posted this photo in remembrance of the activists in China who were not permitted by law to express their values freely. It's important to note, this post was shared on Instagram in the midst of nationwide Black Lives Matter Inc. riots and was posted shortly after Austin shared on his social media his support for police officer David Dorn. So naturally, a post that was aimed at remembering the Tiananmen Square massacre in China is immediately inferred as racist against Black people in America. Makes sense. In a letter to Austin after the post, the university exclaimed that the firearm was an automatic weapon. Can you say gun expert? Not. And that members of the Fordham community felt threatened by the social media posts. A subsequent hearing issued a series of non-appealable and final sanctions against Austin, including the prevention of engaging in any extracurricular activities at Fordham, which would result in his immediate suspension or expulsion from the university. So Austin was straight up banned from campus. 2 Fordham police officers were even sent to Austin's apartment to determine if he presented a threat to other students. Spoiler alert, he didn't. The left claims to value immigrants and minorities, unless they don't meet the ever-changing agenda. In this case, exercising his First and Second Amendment rights caused Austin to be treated as if he wasn't an American citizen at all. In today's political climate, it's hardly surprising that Austin's case was dismissed by Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Carol Edmeade, who said the timing, content, and context of Tong's Instagram posts justify the foregoing inferences that Dean Eldridge drew about Tong's intent to harass and threaten his fellow students via his Instagram posts because of their opposing views regarding the BLM movement. How is being anti-massacre in China opposing the BLM movement? The timing was off? I'm sorry a Chinese massacre intruded on your peaceful BLM protest. Go tell China to stop killing people. Thanks. Just when you thought universities couldn't adhere to lockstep ideology anymore, students nationwide have faced vaccine mandates for experimental COVID-19 vaccines to even set foot back on campus this semester. Let's wrap up at the University of Indiana, where 8 bold students filed a federal lawsuit against their university for such a mandate. The lawsuit alleges that the University of Indiana violated the United States Constitution, specifically the 14th Amendment's rights to personal autonomy and bodily integrity, and the right to reject medical treatment, as well as Indiana state law barring vaccine passports. The students acting as plaintiffs in the suit range from incoming freshmen to PhD and law students at Indiana. And importantly, they speak for thousands of students at hundreds of universities nationwide who have hesitancy about the COVID-19 vaccine, but attend schools that have mandated it in order to return to campus. I thought that universities would want more students on campus to indoctrinate. Instead, they're just finding more ways to keep them away, literally, and students aren't having it. This is the epitome of being an American. Face an issue head-on by taking power into your own hands. Stand up not just for yourself, but for others, and fight for freedom online and on campuses everywhere. If you're a college student, is your university mandating the COVID-19 vaccine to even set foot back on campus? What do you think about mandating vaccines for students anyway? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and that's your State of Campus. I want you to remember from this week's episode one simple thing. You have a voice. Students nationwide are boldly speaking out about the intolerance toward conservative perspectives on campus, and they're loudly sharing what's right. Whether it's recording a professor in class, starting a new campus newspaper to combat the narrative, or even filing a lawsuit against your administration, you can make a difference for the better on your campus just by using your voice. Universities are only going to get crazier until we do something about it, and today's episode highlights the stories of many students who already are. This is your voice, your stories, your fight. Together, we are on the front lines.